Hey there YouTube, it's Genie here with the first ever video to showcase a game I've been playing recently called Path of Exile 2, which is in early access. Now this is not going to be a guide video, but rather just an introduction for those that are not familiar with the game, or for those that are debating whether or not to buy their early access key. Just a quick introduction, I have a full-time job and just play games for a hobby. I fully appreciate that time and resources are limited for a lot of people in this day and age, especially my age. So seeing as I am not sponsored or depend on the game's success for my livelihood, I can truly bring you a full, blunt, and unredacted personal opinion video so that you can watch it and reference it before you make a decision. If you like this sort of content, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for similar content in the future. So without further ado, let's get started. So POE2 is a game by Grinding Gear Games, just referred to as GGG. And they gained popularity with their predecessor, POE1, just called Path of Exile, back in 2013. And since then, they have continually added content after content and made a great game that is widely recognized by the ARPG community. Now, they certainly have my respect, as they have shown fluid communication with their audience, responsiveness to feedback, and true passion for their project that really shines through, unlike some companies I've recently been disappointed with. That being said, I didn't really play a lot of Path of Exile because the game has a high barrier to entry, but with the POE2 starting anew, I thought I would give it a go. So the early access for the game released on December 6th, 2024, and it is currently priced at $30 US dollars, which also comes with some game currency to spend in the microtransaction shop as well. I've been playing for about a week now, so you're not too far behind, and I can confidently say that the price is more than fair for the amount of content and quality of the game. If you're worried about having to spend more money though, the game is fundamentally free to play upon full launch, meaning if you opt out of the early access and just wait a little bit, you don't have to pay a dime, and in probably the latter half of 2025, you'll be able to enjoy the game without having to pay a lot of money. As for the story, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you're thinking about playing this sort of game anyway, story's probably on the back burner. Still, if you read the dialogue and really pay attention to the lore of the game, it is quite immersive, and I think they did a great job with the cinematics and cutscenes. It isn't the best quality in the field, but I certainly enjoyed it. Without giving you too much detail, you start off as an exile, about to be executed on the gallows, and you narrowly escape death. And as you progress the game, just to survive, you learn of corruption plaguing the lands, and your ultimate goal, I guess, is to stop this evil from spreading. So there's a total of 6 acts, I believe, on full launch, but the current campaign will take you through acts 1 and 3, so you'll be able to see about halfway through the game. And right now, you repeat those same acts at a higher difficulty to get to the end game. And this is probably as much as you need to know to understand the overall concept of the game, so we'll move on to the important stuff. So gameplay and the mechanics. POE2 is an isometric RPG, where you control the character as if you're looking down from above them, like a god. But you certainly don't feel like a one, because as soon as you get started, you can get wrecked by just any normal mobs that are crawling around on the beach. And Path of Exile 1 was famous for being a difficult game, and it's clear that they followed suit for POE2. So if you like to play a casual, just spam attack button and get through the game, you are not going to be successful in this. But unlike POE1, the skills that you use are innately included in uncut gems that you find in the game, which can be made into any skill you desire. And then these skills can then be supplemented by uncut support gems, which, as you can guess by the name, has various ways to support the skill that you put them on. Now this change from POE1 makes it a lot more intuitive and easier. You don't have to find gears, and it's easier to switch between the skills. And the combinations are seemingly endless, but as most of these games go, there's going to be completely broken builds at some point, and quote-unquote, wrong choices you can make when you're considering efficiency. However, here's where the word early access really shines, as this is the time to experiment and try things that you want without thinking about that efficiency. Especially when there's going to be patches left, right, and center changing the entirety of the game. Because remember that GGG is responsive to feedback, almost to a fault. For me, I started a completely blind run and decided to create my build as I go. And when I tried this in Path of Exile, I got punished really hard. But with Path of Exile 2, I was able to just clear the campaign with this random build that I made up on the fly. I think this was made possible through the new dodge roll mechanic. This is where that Path of Exile 2 got the term Souls-like that circled around for a bit. This spices up the game, I feel, and allows for player skill to overcome gear checks, which in my opinion adds to the fun of the game. But don't get me wrong, there's going to be really hard gear checks at various places. So it still incentivizes you to level up and get better equipment, which brings us to the crafting portion. The Path of Exile 1 innovations shine in the sequel as usual with the crafting system. I'm not going to go through the entirety of the showcase and drag out the video any longer. This is just a showcase. But basically, you use currency items, such as these, to add or change modifiers on any item to try and get what you want. You will use this function frequently, or you're going to have to resort to trading with other players to try and upgrade your gear to progress through the game. And once you progress through the game and clear the campaign, you can start the endgame content. This was what was referred to as mapping in the earlier version. In POE2, there's an infinite map that you can follow along. Each area are going to have various twists, and you can modify them as you can with equipment. But fundamentally, you are basically progressing through areas that are filled with monsters. You want to try and kill them without getting killed, and the more difficult it is, you're going to get better loot. It's very simple when you just look at it from that perspective. It seems overwhelming when you look at all the different types of things that are there, but when you actually start playing, you'll find that it's almost as simple as that. This really captures the heart of the hack and slash that most people want to play this type of game for, and I would say POE2 absolutely dominates the endgame portion with their competition. Now, if all of this is sounding pretty good to you, I would say there's going to be about 3 things that you need to consider before you swipe that digital credit card. Number 1, you have to remember that this game is in early access. And this means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but it should basically be a warning tag for you. There are going to be a lot of bugs and a lot of changes. Things like quests not completing properly, damages not working as it should. All of the little stuff are going to be fixed pretty quickly and they're manageable. But for me personally, the client crash issue made the game almost unplayable. This has been persistent for me since the launch of the game, and despite trying every fix that is circulating online, at some points of the game, my CPU level just spikes and it completely freezes not only the game, but the actual PC hardware. So my computer's frozen out. I now then have to do a hard reset and try to open up the game again. And it's a complete gamble at that point. I don't know if it's going to happen again or if I'm able to play at this point, but it's extremely frustrating. And not only that, it's more so concerning for the health of my gaming PC. It's not top of the line specs, but it should be more than enough to play this game. And this issue is one of the reasons why I decided to make this video, so that people can be informed before they make a purchase if you have not done so yet. Especially with the holiday season coming up. And also, not too long ago, there was a patch that tweaked the balance of the game, which is great. It means that they're focusing, they're paying attention, and really responding to things that weren't meant to be or were outliers. But along with it, they have basically bricked a type of build that a lot of people are playing. And I don't know if there's going to be some sort of resolution for that yet, but at this point in time, your character that you've been playing all this time, invested all that time and effort in, is basically not playable anymore. So because it is early access, you've got to make sure that to think about the possibility of these things happening And consider that before you make the purchase. Number 2, this is not an easy game. Sure, I'm not a pro player, but I have been gaming for a significant portion of my life, and I would say I found the game to be very rewardingly challenging. And I don't want to float my own boat, but for some people that may mean frustratingly rage-quitting challenging. So if you like high levels of difficulty in games to try and test your abilities and really your knowledge of the game, this game is really fun and has a lot of content for you. But if you just want to press the one button to mindlessly spend your time, this is definitely a no-no. Stardew Valley is the way to go. Number 3, there's a lot of depth to the game. So the long development period of Path of Exile 1 has been condensed and refined into Path of Exile 2. Not to say that Path of Exile 2 is just overall a better game than Path of Exile 1, but even when it has been condensed, there is still a lot to learn as a new player, especially if you have never played this type of genre before. I will compare this to if you're the type of person who tries to make an IKEA furniture without the manual. First of all, you're a hero, but you're going to face some walls in the game, and those walls are probably going to hit you in the face pretty hard. But if you're the type of person who looks at the manual and also checks the warranty specifications to see exactly what is covered and what is not, you will find that there's a lot to discover in this game with that type of personality, and that process of discovery is very rewarding. So in short, I would get the game if you're one of 3 people, and these are and/ors. So number 1, looking for a challenging game to learn, especially as it is being developed, so that you are ready for the full launch to hit the ground running. And/or you want to try to be innovative and try different off-meta builds in these type of games, because it is early access and now is the time to do that. And/or you have $30 to burn with no other games to play for the holiday times, and you just want to try to see what the newest hype is about. I did have fun with the game, and I'm still having fun with the game. I think I'm going to be sticking with this game for quite a while now. Wait for the full launch. I'll probably be playing every season, so I did really enjoy the game, but I did want to bring you the full disclosure of the problems I've been facing, and also my thoughts on whether or not you should or shouldn't, since I already went ahead and did it. So unless you're one of these 3 people, I would wait for the full launch so that all of these little problems can be flushed out, and a lot of the guide sites will have figured out the easiest and strongest builds for you so that you can just enjoy the game without too much stress. I hope you find this content helpful, and as I go through my daily life just playing the games I play, I will keep bringing you more upfront and honest opinions so that you can try and reference them and make your own decisions. If you have a game that you've been thinking about playing and was wondering how it would be, let me know in the comments. I probably have played it or dabbled in it so that I can try and bring you my opinions here as well. Or if you enjoyed this video and were thinking about playing Path of Exile but you didn't know where to start and you would like a guide type of video as well, again, drop a comment and I will try and create a quick guide for you so that you can get started and hit the ground running as you go into Path of Exile 2. Because your wish is my command.